Hello, everyone. This is Jason Avant getting ready to kick off the Q&A show. We are back again. I'm here with one of my favorite teammates of all time. Q, say what's up to the people.
What's up, everybody? What's up? Good to be here. Jay, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm excited. I'm excited about the Eagles and what they're doing. I'm actually starting to become optimistic. Am I like the fan that was like doom and gloom like last week, and now I'm like kind of getting excited? And I'll give you a story later on to tell you guys why I'm a little bit more optimistic and excited. And I think everybody can recognize and be able to see where I'm coming from. Hey, Q, I want to talk about a few things tonight, but before we talk about that, we want to say thank you to all the fans that are tuning into the Q&A show on the Inside the Birds platform, YouTube channel, everyone that's tuning in through Amazon Music, everyone that's sending us messages, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We want to say thank you guys for making our show a success. We really enjoyed this. And we enjoy the comments and all of the feedback that we're getting back just walking around at launch. Q's getting conversation and people stopping him. So we're just excited about what we're doing with this show. And thank you guys for being a part. Thanks to Inside the Birds, Adam and Jeff for making this happen. I'm a man Q, my man Hunter in the background, everyone that's responsible. So Q, do you have anything to say before we start?
No, man, let's get into it. You know me, man. I'm ready to go.
You're ready to go. All right. So there's a lot of news that happened this week with the Eagles. The biggest news happened yesterday, maybe the day before yesterday, but I think it was yesterday with the Ryan Kerrigan signing. We know that Ryan Kerrigan has been a pain in our butt for some time now. He's been the premier pass rusher for the Washington football team. I'm not going to say the Redskins. I saw this funny meme of them just saying, WFT and them switching the T and the F, and it was like, what the football team in Washington, right?
I like that.
That was pretty funny. But we know that he's been a thorn in our side. He has 13 and a half career sacks versus the Eagles. It's tied for the most of any team in our division. And we are excited to have him. But are we getting a Ryan Kerrigan of old Q? Or are we getting a dilapidated, broke down, trying to renovate his career, no good anymore, Ryan Kerrigan?
Well, let me tell you this. First of all, as long as we still got him, we ain't got for 2 games, we ain't got to worry about it. All right. So we don't have to worry about him on the other side smashing us. But listen, I think this is a great signing. He's a good locker room, a very good locker room guy from what I hear. Very good, accomplished player. I do think obviously he's a little bit older now. He's a player that he's on the back nine, but you can still get a lot of good reps out of him. Some good leadership, and I think situationally he's going to help us tremendously in the pass rushing game. And if for nothing else, man, he's someone you got to worry about on the D line. He's a guy that maybe if we put him in certain positions, they'll have to slide protections to him. They'll have to worry about him, and that'll free up space for maybe the end on the opposite side of him, or maybe you can't double team Fletch if you're worried about Kerrigan on the outside, and you got BG in the game. So I just think he adds a lot of versatility and puts a lot of more stress on the opposing team's offensive line.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you correctly, we're talking about a situational player. Oh, that jogs my memory. There was a Chris Long, he's been trending in Philadelphia ever since Ryan Kerrigan signing. And everyone's talking about this is the next Chris Long for us. And Chris had a very productive time here. Whenever he was in the game, he made his reps count. And yes. We know that he was, instrumental in winning that Super Bowl in 2017. So a lot of people are saying this is, the second coming of Chris Long. My thoughts on Ryan Kerrigan, I see what the young guys have done in Washington. Sweat and the first round draft pick. What's his name right now?
Chase Young.
And I remember, how well of a game they played against the Eagles the last season when I was on the team. And I remember Kerrigan, starting that off, and I can see the pass rushing moves develop for Chase Young and Sweat. I'm pretty sure Kerrigan has a lot to do with that. Now you start to put in our Sweat, our Josh, and start to put in Barnett and these other guys, these young pass rushers. I think it only bodes well for our team. Having a glue locker room guy like that, the guy that's been around, that has the respect of everyone. And very rarely do you have that in the National Football League, especially with a team who has a linebackers coach who's 26 years old, and most of the players are very young now. The Eagles have gotten young really fast, besides, the offensive line and a few other guys, but they're a young team in comparison to last year with some of the moves that they've made. A guy like Kerrigan in the locker room automatically gives the Eagles respect. Gets the Eagles respecting the younger players to respect him. So I really like that. Now, the last 2 years, 11 sacks, before situational player, that's good. Not for the main, but for a situational player, that's good. We can use that because besides BG last year, we had no pass rush.
Yeah.
So we can use that anytime. So let's transition off of that into our next topic. Now, let's talk about where he's going to be played, because there's a lot of discussion on this because, in Washington is 3-4, in Washington, there was a bunch of different defenses that he played. Now we're talking about, 4-3 and 4-3 under and all of these different things. Where do you think he's going to fit best with the Eagles program with Gannon?
Yeah, I think obviously from what we're hearing, we're hearing anywhere from a 4-3 under to a 4-3 tilt or 4-3 stunt, and so we'll get into that a little bit later. So the good thing that I like about Kerrigan is he's a versatile player. He's a versatile player. And from everything that I've heard and seen, is actually, especially just watching him play, he seems like a guy that just loves the game and is willing to do whatever he needs to do to get on the field and help the team win. So that being said, there's words that there's people talking maybe he's going to be a DN, rush in. It's possible that he could be a Sam linebacker, kind of walked up in the under front, which I think bodes well because that's a versatile player that can do both of those. I think he's a player that can do both of those things. He can step up and jam the opposing team's tight end. He's got long arms. He's strong. He's a savvy vet, and he can do a good job there. Obviously, you don't want him dropping into coverage, and you don't want him covering man-to-man tight ends down the field. But if he's got to step up over a tight end, jam him, and maybe drop into the flat or maybe jamming and end up with a late pass rush, I think he can do that very well. And obviously, run. If they're trying to run, let's say you're in a two-man backfield and you try to run to the strong side, tight end side, he's a guy that can definitely jam that tight end and force the run back the other way. So I think rush in or Sam backer, whatever they're looking for, I think he can do it, and I think he can help tremendously.
Yeah, that rotation is looking better for me. It's looking better because we hadn't been able to generate the pass rush, but with Barnett being back and hopefully he's healthy and at weight, we can see what he's going to do. We can see Brandon. We know what Brandon is going to be. But Sweat, hopefully he can, continue to progress and shine. And then you add a guy like Kerrigan in there with a few other young guys. I'm excited to see it. Now, hopefully we can get some pass rush because we still didn't address cornerback. Well, we did. We got a guy named Josiah Scott who didn't play much last year out of Michigan State. I don't necessarily think that it was, it's a guy as of right now. He's a guy. He has some upside at Michigan State. We know that the Big Ten is not the best when it comes to cornerback and receiver play, when it comes to speed and stuff. And let me say that because I'm from the Big Ten. I'm just saying in the last couple of years, it hadn't been, the best. But with that being said, let's get to the next topic. We need to go cover the rookie minicamp. That's what happened this week. Rookie minicamp. Q. I was fortunate enough to be there and talk to some of the players. But before we get to that, we'll go through, some of the questions that we had and some of the things that are on the outline. Now, tell me about the rookie minicamp from your perspective. Like we talked about it last week and what it's like to be a rookie and what they can expect during camp. But let's talk about rookie minicamp as a whole. rookie mini camp, can you touch, the opposing, player, offense and defense? Does linemen, get into, can they be effective or get better during that time? Because if there's no pads on, how do linemen get better? And also running backs, is it just 7-on-7 and the running backs don't get any work? Like, how does that work from the fans' perspective? I'm going to ask this question. I kind of know that. So I want to get that from you.
Yeah. So without, yeah. So that's for me, not knowing the CBA, I don't know the full rules of it, how they've changed since I've last played. But the rookie minicamp it's high intensity, it's high competition. Now, and I say that in the sense of they're not out there just tackling each other and banging into each other, but you're new, everybody's is fresh, and you're learning all this stuff, and everybody's competing, they're trying to show off. And even you got rookie coaches, they're even out there trying to show off and try to impress. So from that sense, I think the competition level is high. I think everyone out there is out there to put their best foot forward. I mean, you're especially with a new coaching staff, like this is you're the first that they've had the chance to put their eyes on, to watch film with, to practice drills with. So the competition and the excitement level is high. I'm not putting much more into that other than the fact that it's the first rookie minicamp. There's a lot more football to be learned. There's a lot more football to be coached. There's a lot more football. There's a lot more experiences to be learning from. Yeah. So for me personally, I do like that. It seems like everybody is excited. It seems like the players are excited. It seems like the coaches are excited, but it's a marathon. And so, let's not get too crazy, thinking about what we have right now. It's a slow building process. Well, look at it.
Yeah, I think that's a great perspective. It's a sober perspective of how we should view it as a fan. Now, the way I view minicamp or rookie minicamp, I told you guys last week, shorts doesn't impress me at all because everyone looks good in shorts, but it's the start of something, especially when you consider COVID and the pandemic, right? So last year they didn't get an opportunity to be in the building at this time. So the development of Rager and Watkins and on and on and on and on was kind of suppressed and delayed. And we didn't get a chance to see those guys get to the point that a normal rookie would be at the start of the season until probably week 11 or 12 because there was no off-season program. So having these guys in the locker room, it's good for the organization, good for their development, good for their growth. Now, when it comes to running backs and it comes to offensive linemen, you get most of your work done in individual, right? Because they're telling you constantly, don't touch the quarterback. Stay off the ground. We don't want collisions, all of these things. So you get kind of a get off during the team periods, and you engage and you try to work your hands to see if you can get in a position to possibly for it to look like a sack on the film. But you're definitely limited because you don't want to cause a collision. You don't want to cause, the quarterback, to hit his arm or anything like that. So it's a very, very tough time to be a young rookie defensive lineman that's being told, don't go so hard so you don't hurt the quarterback. So that's a very, very hard thing to do. And also for the running back doesn't get a chance to see like clearly like the holes in the vision and stuff like that, because like we said, you're trying to measure the pace as an offensive lineman, as a defensive lineman. So the screen that the running back is normally seeing in the game, because everyone's going full speed, like on contact, some of the defensive linemen are stopping, some of the guys are going fast. So it's very, very hard to see your keys and read those things when you're running the football. And then it's really for receivers and cornerbacks, like rookie mini camps and all those things. It's about receivers and cornerbacks. You can tell a bunch out of that. I don't necessarily know what the collective bargaining agreement is. And for the fans that don't know this, everything that the offseason schedule everything that's pertained in those schedules, and also with the rookie mini camps and training camps and so on and so forth, have been collectively bargained between the NFLPA, or the players, and the owners. And so sometimes they allow you to have more contact during certain times of the year than others. And during the first stages, there's less contact as possible. But our coaches, and I may sound like a snitch right here, but our coaches would always press the envelope. You would do things that was not collectively bargained, meaning that we would jam guys, we would thud, we would do things like that on our own naturally, and the coaches would never stop us until someone had to snitch on them. There's a few people that would go, we can't mention their names on here, but they would definitely tell the PA, and the PA would shut the coaches down sometimes. You have to do that type of stuff. Yeah. But with that being said, I would hope that, Devontae Smith and Trayvon Grimes and those guys got a chance to see what a jam is going to be like at the pro level, because even though they're rookies, they're going against rookie, they're getting pro coaching to be able to be more patient at the line and all those things. So I think that's the most exciting part for me, Q.
Yeah. And the question too sometimes becomes, is it like, what's more important? Is it more important to do the classwork? Is more important to do, the football, the field stuff, individual drills? And I think really it's like a combination of all that, because this is really the first time, a lot of these guys have touched the field since January, I guess January for Alabama, because they were in the playoffs. But so it's been quite a while, right? And so, some players have been much longer than that. So it's really a good opportunity to just get back in the swing of things and really to get that experience and for the coaches and the players of what do we really have? Like, we went through the meetings, we watched tape with these guys, but like, what do we really have as a team moving forward? And you can tell, a lot of times you can tell right away, okay, he's definitely going to be able to help. He's going to need a little bit more work. I don't know about this guy. So you have an idea going into the rest of the camp when you start bringing in all of the mid-level guys, the second-year rookies, the bubble type players, and the OTAs, and then going on until when you bring the vets, the rest of the vets in. So I think it's all important, and it all plays its part. Not necessarily in the sense of, hey, we have a Super Bowl team right now. We just have the building blocks right now. So I agree with you 100% on that. And that's really what I get from these first few camps.
Yeah. Awesome. So I got a chance to stop by there and speak to the rookies this week. And it was cool. So I got an opportunity to, address the team, and I did, to the rookies. And afterward, there was a few people that came up to me, and Devontae was one of those guys that was near me. And a very humble dude, and the coaches raved about him. And, I've been on the fence, and I've been kind of critical of, Nick Sirianni as well. And Nick was one of the first people to come up to me, and you can feel his energy. You can feel that it's sincere, and you can feel that the guy loves football, and he has a bunch of guys around there. It's a different energy there. Like, cause I was there last year, and it was a very, very thick, competitive, like you're in the middle of a fight. Cause I came there last year. It was like, I was in the middle of, man, which side do I go? Like, if I hang out with these two guys, this group is going to be, and you were like in the middle of like turmoil, but now there is like a free flow there. And there's a fresh sense of like renewal for a lot of people around the building, people that we've known for years in the training staff, in the weight room, and equipment, management, all those people, they're excited about what's going on. And I can kind of attribute that to his energy, because sitting there talking to him, he talked to me for a good 20 minutes about ball and, when I played and how he shows tape and stuff like that. And he loves receivers. And the one thing he said about Devontae Smith is that he loves ball. And when I was sitting there talking to him, he just sit there, listen, ask these questions, and what do I have to do in order to, get better as an NFL player? And that was his humility for what he's accomplished was the sign for me to let me know, okay, he's expecting to be good. This is not something that's going to be like new for him. He acts like the man. He acts like he's been there. And so I'm looking forward to that. All of his coaches said that. Coach Moorhead said the same thing. So I'm excited about that. I was impressed by Nick Sirianni in person. I've never been impressed by his interviews at all, but in person, I was thoroughly impressed by him.
That's awesome, man. That's great news to hear, man. Because, you kind of go out and you listen to, what other people say, and it's kind of all over the board. Some people are, they love it. Some people don't love it. Some people don't care. So that's good to hear that you actually have firsthand experience and actually meeting them. So, and I trust your judgment. And so I hope it's a good long marriage, because, we deserve the Eagles fans. We deserve much better.
So with that being said, like, there's this shift that's happening. There's a shift that's happening in the city. And I talked about it a little bit earlier. I want to know where you stand with it. And, I could be going with the wave. Sometimes the fans get you going with the wave. You're like, hey, I'm in there with them. But is it just like foolish optimism because of, the signings that we've had, the draft that we've had, the schedule that came out, all of these things that are occurring? Do you think that the Eagles actually having a shot at the division, or actually having a shot at the playoffs, or actually being a contending team is totally outside the framework of thought for you? Or tell me your position. I'm putting you on the spot. Where does Q stand? Choose you today. Who are you going to serve? No, I'm joking.
This is a tough one. I'm cautiously optimistic, and I say that because I love, and even the more I'm learning about things right now, I love the Eagles draft, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But I love the Eagles draft. I think they did a good job with their moves. Obviously, secondary wise, I would love to see some more additions there, but without that. Without the hanging on the secondary part, I've been cautiously optimistic. Now, the schedule ain't no joke though. So that's the one thing. Like that's the one thing where it's like, okay, we got a new breath of fresh air type of coach that's all about football, exciting. We got a good draft going. We got a good plan going. Seems like we got energetic young coaches. We got some different schemes. Mm-hmm. So the two things that I'm worried about the most are the schedule and the situation with Jalen Hurts. And like even today, this weekend I was listening to the presser with Coach Sirianni, and it just worries me a little bit that there's not a clear cut, yes, he's our quarterback. No, we'll see. Like if it's more of we'll see what we have, then I'd rather hear that than at just at the quarterback position. Like every other position, I understand, and I'm totally fine with, hey, we got to go out there and compete. Just go out there and compete. Like I get that part. Just quarterback is the one position where, and is that like you got to know who's going to be there, right? Like you got to know who's going to be there, because it's not going to be pretty every week, right? And it's going to be some weeks where he's going to look great. There's going to be some weeks where it's going to be tough. It's going to be some weeks where all of us fans and media alike going to be like, get him out of there. Where's Flacco? Throw him in there. And so like, I just wish I could hear more of a commitment to Hurts. That's the two things that really are making me a little apprehensive right now.
So here's my thing with Hurts. Now I got to do this. I got to do it, Q. I got to do it. This city tore Carson Wentz to shreds.
Fair enough, yes.
Because what we perceived as his lack of acceptance of competition.
Okay, I got that. All right, yeah.
Right? And we wanted a free and open competition. And I'm from that school that all positions, I'm not saying that I'm not going to be like all men are created equal, and we know that that's different even when it comes to quarterback, right?
Yeah,
I understand that, but I think that it's in good keeping to where the off-season change happened. So for the organization, they wanted more competition at every position. They preached it, they preached it, they preach it. They allowed Jalen Hurts to supplant and or replace Carson Wentz because of competition. We heard Howie say that. We heard Sirianni say that. Now it's in good keeping. It's there at the least they're on the same page.
Okay,
that's all I'm saying. At the least, they're on the same page and they're actually practicing what they preach. And they didn't get rid of Carson Wentz and then change their rhetoric.
True.
That's all I'm saying. At least that's the case. Now, I hear what you're saying, and yes, it would be nice for Jalen Hurts, but also there has to be something, and just to be like, from me knowing the kid, I think that this is the way you get the best out of him, anyway.
True.
So that's just me from an insider's kind of perspective. But go ahead.
Yeah, but that on the same, that I get that part of it, but on the same note as a player, let's say you're Jalen Reagor, right? If you're hearing these press conferences and you're really listening to it and you're hearing the competition, okay, I get that. But then it's like, okay, well, what happens if we go into let's say week 3 and things, let's say Hurts has a bad game, right? Like you want, I get it. It's a double-edged sword, but I feel like the quarterback position is the one position where they have to be able to have a couple bad games and not feel like they're going to be. No, it's different. Like if I'm a safety and I'm getting burnt left and right, like it just comes with it. Like that's just part, like it's part of it, right? It's part of the game. Like I know, like, damn, I got smoked. Like I'm gonna be on the bench next week, and rightfully so. But there's so many different aspects that come into the quarterback position, and I just don't want to see that. We're kind of setting ourselves up. Like we want the competition factor, and I do believe, I agree with you, Jalen is definitely built for it. But I also want to know, like, hey, what's the plan? Like offensively, what's our plan? Are we gonna have Jalen, is he going to be able to zone read and run and use his legs? Or we're going to have Flacco that's going to, drop back and play action and throw it deep. Like what is the plan? So I think when you're looking at it from the sense of who's going to lead our team, it's more of a scheme wise, like what is our scheme going to look like, I guess. And I see like the defensively, I see the scheme. Based on the picks, I'm starting to see kind of where it's starting to form and where it's starting to go. I still don't know with the offense, like where. I guess that's why I'm a little apprehensive, because I can't really feel where it's going. Like what's it going to look like?
Yeah, from what I hear, that it's very similar to what we're used to and what we're accustomed to with the West Coast, as far as style wise. Now. There is more freedom for the slot and the tight ends. There's a little bit more freedom for them. So that with that alone, so I don't want the fans taking away that, oh, we're running the same offense. No, it's similar, but if the slot and the tight end has more freedom, which they are very, very restricted in the traditional West Coast offense, you literally have to go outside the framework of the offense and the formations in order to get those two positions of the ball. We've mastered it, but part of the reason we've mastered it here in the Philadelphia Eagles, we've confused everyone else because it's not standard formations. And now I'm starting to get pretty technical here. But if a standard formation is trips right, that's a standard formation everywhere across the league. Trips right, tight ends on the right, the adjuster or the zebra or the slot receiver is next to him, and then the Z's out wide, and then the X by himself. That's a standard offense. In order for this offense or the West Coast offense to get to, where the tight end is in the middle, you have to make a different name and a different call. And then that, they may say, instead of trips right, you got to put target right. Now, target means the tight end is in the middle, or you got to do something else. It's still trips. It's not, still got R in it, all those things, right? So you have to come up with a different terminology in order to make it simple. But if the offense naturally, yields to or was created for the tight end, for the slot receiver, is going to be a lot easier on everyone else. I was there when there was a lot of confusion because of them trying to get, Zach Ertz the ball. It's like, yo, why are we naming it this? It's like, this play doesn't even exist, but we got to get Zach Ertz the ball. So everyone else is going to be confused because we got to get Zach Ertz the ball. So that's a little bit more inside detail. But so the offense will look very different if the offense were created for the two guys. Cause you know now, when you start getting into when you start getting in the right, when you start getting to Frank Wright, I think that he's one of the better offensive coordinators in this league and head coaches in this league. The reason I think that is because he's had so many different offensive systems, and he's been able to marry them. And so you go with a guy like Frank Wright, who's with Marty Schottenheimer's, with the number system, which is more of a play action, Cam Newton, Ben Roethlisberger type of a system. And then you bring him into the West Coast system, and now he gains that Andy Reid knowledge. Bam, it just blows you open, right? So I think him having that insight, and if Sirianni's anything like that, it only helps our team. But I just went on a massive tangent, but yeah,
and not to mention he played in with the Bills and one of the first no huddle offenses that we ever saw.
Run like a run and shoot type of offense.
I forget what the offense was called, but yeah.
But anyhow, to just back up, Jalen Hurts and his ability. For me, I love the competition aspect of it. I love where they have him now. With you saying that, I don't think that the Eagles has ever been a 1 or 2 or 3 start team. Like, to do what, Brian Flores did to Tua last year. Now that's asinine. That's absurd. That's one of the worst coaching jobs I've ever seen. Yes, the team was able to get in and all those things, but that's terrible. You are literally hanging a guy that you picked number 5 overall in the balance when he has the potential to be a franchise for the next 15, maybe even 20 years, Tom Brady. Like, how does that work? It doesn't make sense to me in my mind. So I understand that aspect of it, but I think with the Eagles giving Carson Wentz that long of a rope, he played horrible for most of the season, and they gave him that long rope. I don't think Jalen Hurts has anything to worry about.
All right, good.
So there I go.
We good then. We good.
All right, let's get to the portion that we promised. Now, we promised the fans. We've been promising them for weeks and weeks and weeks about question and answer. This is the show. It's Q&A show. Quintin Mikell, Jason Avant here, but question and answer is the topic and the name of the show. So we're going to give the fans the opportunity now to be heard. We've been taking questions all week on insidethebirds@gmail.com from fans all week. We've been taking them from Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, trying to get the best questions and things that, people want to know about. And Q, we're going to start right off with my man, Thad F. Thad, I don't know if it's Thaddeus or whatever. We just got Thad F. That's what we have. Thad F, Kevin R, all those guys had questions. And the first question is, I really like Jalen Hurts' demeanor and desire to be great. How realistic is it that he will be a franchise quarterback? Q, the ball is in your court, right from Kevin or Thad F. This is Thad F.
I think I personally think it's very realistic. And I say that because he has all the intangibles. He's got the size, he's got the arm strength, he's got the speed, he's got the agility, the football intellect. He's the one thing that he doesn't have yet, in my opinion, is the experience. He has the fight. He's got the dog in him. He's fought through a tremendous amount of adversity, and he's a winner. And so when you put all that together, I do think that he has what it takes to be a franchise quarterback. Now, as we all know, a franchise quarterback, they need 2 things. They need time and they need weapons. So I think we give him a little bit of time to develop. Mm-hmm. We don't bash him if he has a couple bad games. We know that eventually he's gonna He's going to write it. He's going to come out of it. And we got to get him some weapons, and we got to let him, to me personally, what I think, let him know that it's okay to run. Right. So like,
don't forget that.
Don't forget that. Right. Don't go out there as a quarterback and think that you dropping back and throwing it 50 times a game and not taking a run when it's open is going to do you any favors. Yeah. One of the worst, most difficult things on a defense is a quarterback that is willing to run and will run and can hurt you with the run, because you can't plan for that, right? As a defensive coordinator, you're planning, if you're planning, let's say you're planning for a blitz, you're planning the blitz to be able to get that quarterback off his spot and get him down on the ground. Now, as you know, with a blitz, if you don't get there in time and that quarterback finds the open area or the open lane and he can hit it and make you pay for it, that's a done deal. And then what that also does is defensive coordinator the rest of the game, he's like, dang, I don't want to call another blitz.
I don't want to call it blitz.
Because I might lose my job if he he gets another one. So it really what it does is it puts more pressure on the defensive coordinator and the opposing defense. So let him run, let him go out there and do his thing. Also, still develop his passing game, but let's let him develop into what he's meant to be.
He's the best at.
Yes.
That's a great take on it. I like that too, because there's a lot of, and this is something that we can talk about here. And we're going to talk about it. And I'm going to say this, and I'm not trying to be offensive. And I know some of the people are back inside the birds land right now, and that's in the back office. Like, what is Jason about to say? It won't be too bad. But a lot of times we listen to the outside forces, people around us, right? Like there may be Tom Brady will go down as the greatest quarterback in history. Joe Montana, Warren Moon, whoever it may be, just pure passers, Dan Marino, those guys. And they've done it a certain way for so long that for a long period of time, that was like the status quo and the standard. But the guard has changed. Do I like the way that the guard has changed? Me personally, no. But the guard has changed into this more mobile, athletic quarterback. And the worst thing that Jalen Hurts can do is listen to the naysayers and the outside forces that says, hey, you need to be a stereotypical or prototype of a quarterback or something, or to stop running because, you can get hurt, or you need to stop running because, Tom Brady won Super Bowl without running and that. Like, no, be who you are and be comfortable with being who you are and let the talkers talk. Okay. Yeah. And if somebody touches you up or hits you too hard and different things like that, figure out the adjustments, learn how to slide, those things, but don't totally abandon the thing that you are special with, right? Don't allow it. And I felt like during our time, sometimes the quarterbacks that we had with us at some time allowed the outside forces to stop what they did naturally. And that's why I commend guys like Russell Wilson, guys like Aaron Rodgers, who are mobile. He doesn't always run the ball, but can get away from it in order to make plays happen. Those guys are special. So stick to who you are. So that's one thing that I think that Jalen can do. So I totally and 100% agree with you. As long as he's sticking to who he is, and I'm not calling him a running quarterback because Jalen Hurts is not a running only quarterback. He actually has the arm talent. He has the mentality. That's what I love about him. If you say, give me a player with the mentality to be a potential Pro Bowler, a potential Super Bowl winner, and you put him in a lineup, I'm probably going to choose Jalen Hurts because he has that aura about him. He has a special bond with players. I cannot put my finger on it. And it's players of all different diversities. They are in backgrounds, right? All different cultures. They believe in him when he speaks, and he don't speak that much. But the way he carries himself is like, yo, I need to listen to him or something bad may happen. It's a little bit different. Like, and he's not even a bully or anything like that, but he just has that about him. It says leader. And so from that standpoint, that checks the box for me. Now, the play. in order for Jalen to get to that place where he, takes that step, I think down the field, he's going to be fantastic. I really think that. I think down the field, which is the hardest throws to make, I think that he's going to be fantastic with making those throws. I think the intermediate game and getting back to 3 and understanding where the check down is, that's going to be the hardest part.
Yeah.
3 and 4, 3-4 check down, that makes the quarterback special, in my opinion. Can he get that? Can Sirianni bring that out of him? That's what Tom Brady makes the right play. He's on the right side of the field when he's supposed to be, and he understands the defense and where his outlet is. Because at the end of the day, I'm trying to throw it to 1 and 2, but if I can remember under duress where the check down is, I'm in good position.
Yeah. So explain to everybody what you mean by 3 and 4.
So there is a progression in every read for quarterback. Based on the coverage, based on the pre-snap look, it tells me what side of the field I should be on based on what the defense is doing, where I'm supposed to be. And usually based on what the defense is telling me, I have the first option based on that defense, and I have the second option. If the first option is there, every quarterback is going to look like a Pro Bowler. So if the quarterback is coming out of his off his drop 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever that may be, and the ball's coming right out on the back foot, you know that the offensive coordinator is dialing up a hell of a game. Everybody should know that. If the ball is coming out like that, the offensive coordinator is kicking the defense coordinator's butt. You should know that right now. But usually the good ones, for the first 15, it may come out like that because they're scheming up versus defenses and all this thing. But once you weather the first 15 plays of the game, because they're scheming up versus each other, they're dialing up new stuff. But after it settles in, the quarterback very rarely one's open because the defense knows, okay, they're in that set. One, we got to stop this guy. So if he can get to the second read, that's the next progression for the quarterback. Where do I go when number 1 is taken away? So I go to number 2. Usually quarterbacks in the NFL are good with getting to number 1 and number 2. The bad ones can even hit number 1. The mediocre ones can eliminate number 1 and get to 2. The special ones understand 3, 4, 5 and run. The athletic quarterbacks understand 1 and number 2 is run. So I need to get out of here. So if number 1's there, I can throw it to him. If number 1 not there, the only other option is to run it. We don't want Jalen Hurts to do that because that's how you get hurt, right? Yes. You understand 1, 2, and 3, 4, and then I run. Or pressure's coming and my natural ability takes over. But you don't want to just be, I don't know where everyone is, and therefore I just need to run. You don't want that. So getting to 3, 4, and 5, because there's always 5. There's most of the time there's 5 outlets with five either being your check down and or your legs. There's always but getting back to that or eliminating it immediately, and that's what Peyton Manning was great at.
Yes,
he would automatically understand that number 1 and 2 were eliminated before the play even started, and he was automatically on 3 and 4 from the beginning. He would act like he was on 1 and 2 to fool the defense, and he knew he was going 3, 4, and that's a whole different level. But let's keep going because we can talk about that type of stuff all day.
I love it, man. I love it. Shoot.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. You got the next question, Q?
Yeah, I got. Let's see what we got. Okay. This is from Sean E. Jason, can you talk about the talent guys like Rager, Fulgham, and Watkins have? Who is the highest upside? And what happened with Fulgham last year after the great 4-game stretch that he had? And then it said, what was it? The coaches. Was it because the coaches played Alshon Moore and then he kind of went in the shell? So okay. I know there's a lot of different questions there.
There's a lot of questions in that. So Rager. So I'll give you guys just a brief synopsis. I'm not going to stay long. Rager has the most upside. My biggest critique on Rager from the draft time, because I was still in the media before I decided to before I took the Eagles up on their offer to coach last year. So I was still in the media. So Rager, and I watched boatloads of tape on Rager. His downside with me was his inability to focus at times, right? So he would drop balls. But once we got to camp and once I got to know the kid, I began to realize that this kid can actually catch the ball and he has dog in him. I thought it was just like, we've had guys where they just couldn't catch. They can run fast. They just couldn't catch well. His problem was never that he just couldn't catch. His problem is that he didn't care enough too, because he knew he can make an explosive play. So he has everything. You can give him the ball and he can make something happen. He has a lot more speed than most people think. He's the only receiver as of right now that I would take into a club if we got into a fight. He would be the dude that I'm gonna take out of receiving corps. If he had one to pick, it'd be Jalen Rager, because he's that's what you need though. You need a guy like that that's gonna be like we
ain't no punks,
that.
Man.
We ain't taking that. So Rager has the most upside. Travis Fulgham is I won't say that he's second. I think that I love Travis, but Quez and John has more upside than Travis Fulgham. A lot of people don't want to hear that. They do. Travis has I won't say that. It's a toss up. I would say Quez and then Travis and Hightower both have upside in different ways. Quez is a home run hitter. Very underutilized in college and very like unpolished. So his first 10, 12, 13 games, and he wasn't any help to anyone because he was just learning. Darius Slade beating him up for the first 12 weeks helped him out a bunch. He learned more in scout team than anything. So he has that upside, and you're going to see a lot out of him this upcoming year. Quez Watkins can be the real deal because he catches the ball nice. He's really fast. He wants to do it. So I think that he has focus when it comes to that.
Okay.
Fulgham is, for his size, moves extremely well. And truth be told, I don't think that he would be a bad slot receiver. I really don't. I think that him and G Ward may be competing in the slot this year.
Okay.
I can see that occurring. I know he's a bigger body type, but I can see it happening. Now, what happened with him last year, of course, he balls out. He's a young dude. He heard all the hype. He the best thing since sliced bread. You know how Philadelphia do. Yeah. Philadelphia, you have a couple of good games. You can run for president. Like Deshaun Jackson, who outshine, he's the best receiver I've seen since T.O. Jerry Maclin's nothing compared to Travis Fulgham. Like, that's just the mentality of Philadelphia. They love you when they love you. Something goes down and they can bring back to reality, but we just go over fan. We're fanatics, right? So Travis had that glory. And as a young player, I don't necessarily think that he handled it the best. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that the organization put him in best position.
Yeah.
When you got young dudes that are playing like that, now there was a stretch where the Eagles receivers played really well. The young guys did. They didn't win ball games, but they were playing as hard as they could. And here's the thing. When they're playing as hard as they can, the team sees it. It's sparking the team to play as hard as they can. But the organization messed it up by putting the older players back in based on contracts. And that threw off the chemistry that the younger receivers had. And therefore, Travis Fulgham wouldn't tank. And that's just true.
Yeah, that's tough, man. That sucks. Because it's like, that's like one of them situations where it's like you just think about like what could have been, like what could have happened if we just stayed the course. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, So that's tough, man. That's tough.
I'll give the last thing. John Hightower is the best route runner we have. Is the best route runner that the Eagles have had since Nelson. Nelson was like, Nelson's a great route runner. People don't want to hear that. He couldn't catch the ball all the time, but Nelson was a great route runner. He was.
Yes, he was.
He was always open, and that's part of his first. Now he didn't always catch it, but he was always open. And Hightower has better ability to get open than Nelson does, but he still has Nelson's problem at times where he don't catch the ball. And so, you hate, I could see Hightower being on the team and being special, even if it's in Philadelphia or somewhere else. I think that he's going to have a quarterback that gives him, catchable, favorable balls consistently.
So do you know what school? I mean, because when you said
Boise State,
he's the best
I said route runner, but Boise State, I said route. But y'all known for
Hey, listen, man, we had Titus Young too.
Yeah. Oh man, I heard the craziest stories about.
No, we don't get into that. All right, we just talking about college. Boise State, Titus Young in college. We don't want to talk about that stuff.
All right, we're not gonna talk about it. Oh, you should hear Coach Schwartz talk about Titus Young in Detroit, man. It's hilarious. Yeah,
I know. I heard a lot of stuff. I know. Hey, he had some at Boise State too.
That's funny. All right, let's get back to it. Q, I'm gonna ask you this question. Heard whispers the Eagles on defense will play a base 4-3 underfront. Can you explain the benefits, both good and bad, of playing an underfront? Like, what's the difference, good and bad, maybe playing a 4-3 underfront?
Okay, so without getting too technical, let's start with the 4-3 overfront, which is the normal base front that most teams run. You have a one technique on the weak side. So the one technique, so let's say you got two backs in the backfield, you got one tight end. You have a one technique, which is a big, strong defensive tackle to the center's left.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have a defensive end, either head up, most of the time head up to slightly outside the tackle. To the tight end side, you'll have a defensive end, strong side defensive end. He'll be either head up to slightly outside. And then you'll have the three technique, like the Warren Sapp, right? The Warren Sapp, the three technique. He's to the outside of the right guard. So now underfront basically flips that. And so what you do is you have a one technique to the strong side now, and you'll have the three technique to the weak side, and you'll have the six technique, or the defensive end, to the outside of the tackle. Yeah. So essentially what you got on the backside is you have a guy outside the weak side guard and the guy head up the outside the weak side tackle. Strong side, you'll have the end kick down, and he's basically head up to inside of the tight end. And then you have a Sam linebacker walked up to the head up to outside the tight end. The benefits of that, me personally, I think is, number one, you get your better pass rushing defensive tackles on the weak side. He's basically one-on-one. He can do his stunts or whatever on the backside. Strong side, you have a strong side Sam linebacker. If you get a guy that's long and strong, like we had, whenever we had underfront, we always played it with Carlos Emmons. I don't know if people remember him. He was a very good sandbacker. Big, strong, tall guy, long arms, and he would just line up over the tight end and just destroy him. You couldn't run to his side. And then if it was a pass, he would just beat up the tight end and basically make your tight end a non-factor. And so to me personally, I like the underfront. The main thing is you have to have a killer strong, like you have a killer Sam linebacker. So if the Eagles are running the 4-3 under, that's a perfect position for a guy like Ryan Kerrigan.
Yeah.
Big, strong, physical, long arm guy that can, he can jack up the tight ends. He can, basically stuff the run to that side. I can see the Eagles using him, and then which kind of made the Milton Williams pick make more sense. If you move Fletcher, who's a big, strong, physical guy, to the weak side.
And then have
one-on-one. He's the 3 technique on the weak side. There's not very many guys that can block him on the weak side by himself. I mean, you're talking about Fletch one-on-one backside with the weak side guard, left guard. So good luck with that. And then if you have a guy like Milton Williams at a 3 technique, I mean, as the 1 technique, that's kind of a pass rushing type of player. I can see. That's why I'm like starting to get excited about the defense. Now, there are some people saying that it could be a 4-3 stunt, a 4-3 stunt, or some people call it 4-3 tilt. And essentially, it's kind of the same idea, alignment wise. The only difference is they're aligning the same, but instead of the Sam linebacker walked up on the line of scrimmage, he's now back off the line of scrimmage. Now you have your 1 technique who would have been to the weak side or the strong side. So now, just remember, now we have the tight end. So you have to the tight end side, you have a head up to outside defensive end, and then you have it's a 1 technique. So with the 4-3 stunt, you have a 1 technique they tilt them in, and essentially what he is the outside shade of the center. And what they do is you can do a lot of stunts because you're now playing a gap instead of a player. So you're basically, if you have a guy that's big, fast, and strong and athletic, think Warren Sapp, someone like that, you want them in that gap, and they're just shooting the gap. So they're playing that outside shoulder of the gap. I mean, the outside shoulder, the center, and with the stunt, it's exactly what it is. Like you do stunts, tom stunts. So the tom stunt, you have a 1 tackle to the left of the center, and he's swooping to the right, and then you're wrapping the other defensive tackle to the other side. So I know it's kind of hard. I should really get like a board up here to try to break it down and explain it, because it's not really making a lot of sense. But just essentially what it is, it's going to be a defense where the defensive line is going to be much more active in stunts and movement. And I'm actually really excited to see it, because I think that
we become stale.
This is the way. Yeah, we got stale. And in this new NFL, you have to have movement. You cannot just line up with 4 guys all game and just tell them just get after it. You've got to use some stunts. You got to get them out of their comfort zone, and I'm excited for it. So
yeah, I'm excited for that too. Great job though. I know that's a tough one to try to visualize. That Sam Backer lined up on the tight end is like the most integral part of it, of that underfront,
yes.
And you can take guys out of the game that way. Usually a team that has a great Sam and they're in the under, like you can't really run the ball to that side, because now you get into that one-on-one matchup area. And usually that guy is so dominant when you're in the underfront, that Sam Backer, that it's like, dude, I'm like running it over there is just stupid. Like, you know what I mean? It would just be dumb to do it. And so hopefully Kerrigan can be that for us. And I'm looking forward to it. Great job, Q.
Let me tell you one more thing too. The one other thing that it does too that helps a lot is it keeps teams from pulling. It keeps teams from pulling guards and pulling, double guards to the outside. Because now if you're pulling, it's penetration. So I'm excited for it. I think it's gonna be great, man. It's one of my favorite defenses.
Yeah, that one-on-one matchup, man. That one-on-one matchup. If you getting your butt kicked and you getting penetration up, well, that sounds like a porno. Let me stop.
Oh, crazy boy. All right, let's move on.
It's kids show. It's kids are watching this show.
All right, so let's go. Here we go. So next question. Oh shoot! Oh, here we go. So from Kevin F. All right. So, and this is.
Hold on, no. I'm asking this question. Hold on, I see this question. I'm taking this mic. Give me the mic. I'm asking this.
Oh no!
I see where you're going. So, in the 2005 season, there's a story out there that T.O. wanted to fight, called out the locker room, was with no response. This may be two separate incidents, but somehow Hugh Douglas, who was either hurt or not on the team, got into it with him. Is there any truth to that? And can someone tell us what really happened? Q, you was there. Tell us about it.
All right, so I can't tell everything.
You can't tell everything.
I can't tell everything,
Okay.
obviously, because this happened in the locker room, and a lot of stuff that happens in the locker room stays in the locker room. But I will say that there was a fight. I think it kind of got blown way out of proportion. I think at that time it was kind of one of those deals where it was like it was bound to happen that year. I mean, T.O. I'm gonna say this personally. I was still I was a second year player, right? To me, and for everything I saw around him, T.O. was a great teammate. I mean, he worked his tail off. He never got in trouble. Like he was like a guy that if you looked at a guy that just worked his tail off and like wanted to be great, like, and just you wanted to see someone to motivate you to be that was T.O. I mean, the guy would take a great example. He would take a drag route and run it to the end zone every single time he touched the ball, like sprint to the end zone. Like he made our entire secondary better, right? So just a great teammate in that sense. Now he's a little bit off his rocker at times, and so without getting too much into it, yes, it did go down, and it started off over. It started off over a get together. Let's put it that way. It was supposed to be a get together, and one thing led to another. Someone said that, I'm going to so and so's house, and then everyone kind of got uninvited. So it was just a weird deal. And I think honestly, what it was T.O. was just kind of feeling a certain kind of way, and just he wasn't really for the BS that day. He didn't have time for it.
Yeah.
And I guess he did have time for it. He had time that day. Because I would say Hugh was involved. Hugh Douglas was involved, and it was a little bit.
Who got beat up?
I'm gonna keep it 100.
Who got beat up? Who won?
I'm gonna keep it 100. T.O. held his own. Let's put it that way. You would think that it would be the other way around. Easy. Yeah, no, T.O. he more than held his own. Let's put it that way. And so I'm not gonna get too further into it. I got to see Hugh every now and then, so I'm not gonna get too into it. But T.O. held his own. That's all I'm gonna say on that.
You got knocked out.
I didn't say that.
No, I was listening.
No, but
listen, T.O. is a big dude.
Oh yeah,
that's what people don't. T.O. is a big man. So when you think of a defensive end and how big a defensive end is, 6'3", 6'5", 280, 290, it's not outside of the framework for T.O. to be 6'3", 250 at times. You know what I mean? Because his bottom weight is 230 that we see.
With wingspan.
With wings and he in shape, he in condition. This ain't 4 or 5. This ain't 2 seconds. Like defense line. We go all day.
Hey, for real. Hey, the craziest part about it is I don't want to. This is the last thing I'm gonna say about it though. The whole thing went down in the ice, like right outside the ice tub. So you remember, what it's like. Yeah. So it's slippery in there. So once you get out the ice tub, it's like anything goes, anything can happen. So
yeah,
just
you like a cat in there, no slippage and nothing.
It was. I'm put it this way: it wasn't to Hugh's advantage to be in a slippery area.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was crazy.
Man, you make me laugh.
Yeah, this was my second year in the league. I'm like, man, what the heck is going on? Then we had the breakdown the next year when he was doing sit-ups on his driveway.
In his driveway. So listen, that had to be a fun time. I wish I could have experienced it. I really do. Because the one thing that people talk about T.O. and they give him a hard time. T.O. is, of our generation, the hardest working, maybe player of our generation. Now, we're not in Jerry Rice's generation, but the hardest working player that I've ever seen. Yeah. He's that. And so dealing with his personality and understanding the difference, it took, understanding it to kind of motivate him and not motivate him, because that's the wrong word, to be able to deal with this personality. That if you learn how to do that, you can get the best out of him, but that dude worked hard. So I thought he was an excellent teammate, and I know David Culley loved him, boy. Culley loves some T.O. He's like, man, loves some T.O. because you love that as a coach, right? Because you don't have to say anything. Like you don't have to tell your best player who's making a boatload of money, who's been in the Pro Bowl every year, he running down, taking something 70 yards every time that he catches the ball. You don't have to motivate anybody to do that. You don't have to say anything else, coach. All right, you don't do it, we'll holler at you later. Yeah. So you love that.
And then what it did, honestly, what it did is it made the entire team better. It made the entire team better to see a guy like everything you just mentioned, a guy that stature, that accomplished, working that hard. It made everybody want to get better. So, he was a great teammate. Now it's tough because of obviously everything else that happened, but I think he was a great teammate. That year, let's put it this way. That year he was a great teammate. All right.
The year
that T.O.
when he moved somebody, he was
doing push-ups on the driveway. T.O. I don't know. That was a different guy.
It's different. Yeah, you never know which one you get. You may get this one. You never know. Oh man, I tell you a story, man. I always tell a story, man. I played basketball pickup game with T.O. We having a McDonald's game. We always play, the football players versus the top players in Chicago. It's a great game because professional football players versus like guys that are going to Kentucky and Duke, whatever, because it's the competition level is very, very close because we are stronger. Both of us are we all are athletic, right? So it's a great game. It's been going on for 20 years.
Okay, that's cool.
And the rule is that there's nobody outside the area though, only Chicago area guys. So T.O. is not from Chicago. Napoleon Harris, it's like, man, I want T.O. to come. And we're like, dude, he gets T.O. to come. I'm the point guard of the team. It's me and Antoine Randall and Rodney Harris and just a bunch of Chicago guys. All of us hoop all the time. Dude, every time I come down the court, T.O., hey, Jay. I pass him the rock. That thing never coming back. You give it to him. That thing is not coming back. You give it to him. We were playing with a Wilson, the ball Wilson on it. Boy, we left the stadium, man. But Wilson was in the palm of his hand that night. He had 30, but we were losing. So at the fourth quarter, I thought he got mad at me. I didn't want T.O. to beat me up. I heard the story. I'm like, all right. So on the point guard. So I had to stop passing the ball. We went down the stretch in order for us to win this game. So I had to get in the lane and dish it to people close to the basket because we were losing. And I remember at the end of the game, it's like, man, Jay froze me out at the end of it. You know what I mean? I'm like, T.O., you already got your 32, man. 30, whatever you had. T.O. didn't want anybody else to shoot. He's going to shoot that much every time. If I pass him, he's going to shoot it every time. He's like, ain't nobody else on the court, nobody else on the planet. I'm only just me, myself, in the gym. Nobody else.
That's it. Oh, man. Listen, I'm not surprised one bit.
But I'm like, boy, T.O. got the game. By the way, the game was canceled forever after that year. Been going on 20 years. No more McDonald's Classic in Chicago.
Oh my God. T.O., man, see, come on, man.
It's all good though. It's all good. We have fun. It was a good run.
That's good stuff.
Hey, I'm on Q. We're gonna transition. and we're going to transition and talk about one of the guys. He's not on our paper, but one of the guys off Instagram, guy I've been knowing for years. His name is Jerry. Always follows the Eagles, and he had a question for us. He had a question for you. He had a question for me too. But one of the questions he had for you, I thought was a very interesting question. When you're coming out as a defender, like, what keys are you looking for from the offense that's going to give you a tip on what the play possibly could be? What are you looking at?
Yes, that's a great question. As a secondary player, a lot of it depends on the coverage we're in. So let's say we're in man cover one, right? Everybody plays cover one. The first thing that I'm looking at, let's say I have a tight end that's attached to the line, like he's in the 3-point stance. So now that I have a tight end man to man, I'm kind of in the run front, right? So that means that if that tight end blocks, I got to be able to find the run to fill, because I got my man, he's blocking someone else. I got to make sure that I'm filling there. So if it's man attached to the box, I'm looking at the tight end. I'm looking at the triangle. I'm looking at the quarterback, the back to my side, and the tight end, kind of all at the same time. Now, let's say I'm in man and the tight end is flexed like in a slot. Now, I know I don't necessarily have a run threat. So now I'm looking a little bit more. I'm thinking he's thinking more pass because he's split out. Now I'm locked in. I'm looking at his hips, right? I'm inside shade. I'm staring at his hips. I'm watching his get off. Now, let's say I'm on a tight end again, and now he's flexed out all the way wide. Now I know definitely no run threat. Now it's all man. So now in that situation, I might go up into a press technique because I know, hey, they're splitting him out for some reason. I'm a faster guy. He's a big, strong guy. Maybe I can jam him and get some timing off there. So now I'm in press. Now I'm inside shade. I'm looking at his hips again. So that's that. Now let's say I'm in quarters coverage. Now, if I'm in quarters and I have a tight end that's attached, I'm still technically in the run front. So I'm still reading a triangle. So I'm reading the quarterback to the back to the tight end all at once. Same kind of deal. If he's flexed, now I'm a little bit more. I'm still reading the quarterback and the back to that side with the tight end. But now I can cheat a little bit because he's flexed. I'm off about 10 yards. Now I'm going to cheat and I'm going to look at the guard. A lot of times the guard or the tackle will tell you if it's a pass, right? So if I'm looking at the guard and the first thing I see him do is pop up like this, that's pass blocking. So I know it's pass. So now I'm locked in. Okay, I got you. It's pass. If I'm looking and the guard lunges out like he's run blocking, I'm thinking, okay, it could be a run, it could be a boot, it could be something else. So now what I do is once he comes out and he lunges and he's run blocking, I'm looking at the tight end to see what he's doing, or I'm looking at my number 2, my slot guy, to see what he's doing. If it's let's say we're in cover 2 where I'm like a true deep player, I have no run responsibility at all. All I'm looking at is the receivers in front of me, and I'm getting my read off of them. If they're coming off and they're blocking, let's say they're running down and blocking the cornerbacks, blocking the linebackers, I'm just kind of floating out, and I'm trying to find the run if it's the run. I'm secondary force. Now, if I'm in a deep half and these 2 receivers are screaming down the field, I'm backpedaling my butt off, and I'm just trying to stay in between both of them.
Yeah, trying to split the difference, right?
Exactly. Yep, try to split the difference. And so ideally, I would say, just as a general rule of speaking, if you're any type of man or cover 3 type of coverage, I'm looking at my coverage guy, the guy I'm supposed to be covering, I'm watching his hips, because the hips never lie. Your shoulders, you can come and run a route and shake, what you used to do all the time, and get here off their spot. I'm not looking up here. I'm looking down at the hips. If we're in a cover 2, cover 4, any type of coverage where I'm kind of secondary force, I'm reading the guard, tight end, or guard, slot, and the quarterback. Yeah, and I'm getting my reads off that.
Wow, that's great insight. That's great insight. And from that perspective, I'll say this too and I'll piggyback and I'll see the other question. Based on what the offense is doing, based on the personnel they have in the game, all of that speaks to the defense as well, right? Based on where the guys lined up at, based on, who they have in the game, what down it is. It's a process of elimination. And sometimes the really good players can eliminate things based on the formation that they get in, who's in the game, and all those things. And they can narrow it down. And that's when guys become special. And I remember being with, Luke Kuechly in Carolina, and he was great at it. He was really, really good at being able to break it down to one or two plays that you were going to do. Now, every team is different. You can't always do that. But if it's a team that's like, the Eagles were last year, where you can start to see things on both sides of the ball, you can kind of tell, okay, what defense is coming, what offense is coming. And that's when the game slows down. It's really good at that too? Asante.
Oh, yeah.
Asante is great. When it came to coverage reading, I don't know if I played with anybody that recognized pattern reads better than he did. Mm-hmm. Like if he saw the number two and he's to my side and he saw number two go flat, he automatically said this is a curl or it's a dagger. Like they're clearing him out for some reason. Yep. Right. He didn't say, okay, this is a go route. He's like, nah, it's either he's stopping on me or he's going to go in. There's no other way. Yep. And that's just how it was. And he used to pick. Remember, he used to pick bang eights all the time. I'm like, how are you picking a bang eight that easily? He would undercut it. He would go over the top of it and pick out. It's like, how is he doing that?
I've never seen. So for people that don't know, like a bang eight is like a skinny post.
Yeah, 5 or 7 step, like on time throw.
Yeah, he used to. Those were amazing that he used to pick, but I was even more impressed when he used to undercut those dig routes. So he would line up off, and I don't know how he did it. He would line up off, but he would line up outside shade and almost kind of bait that route. So he would backpedal, the receiver run like 10 yards or 12 yards and then run that dig. And I wish I could explain it in person. I could probably do it better in person, but he would almost like, he showed me how he did it one time. But like when a receiver breaks on the dig route, he would like do this weird thing with his arm where he would come underneath the route. Like he would cut underneath the route. So like most of the time people don't know, like when someone's running a dig route, if it's a defensive player, you want to first secure the tackle, because if you come underneath and you don't make the tackle and they catch it, it's a touchdown. So I myself would never even try to do it, but he figured out a way to be able to undercut a dig route and pick it off. And I want to say I'd seen him in one season probably get like 6 off of just that route right there.
Off that route. And because that's a go-to money route for everyone. It's such I won't say it's an easy completion, but it's a high completion for a lot of teams, Yeah. And so if you can get that, it's real good. He asked me, Q, talk about the route tree and how the quarterback and receiver stay on the same page when they're reading zone. How do they know to be on the same page, basically? And that's a very, very hard question to explain this way. But the route tree, it's a vague term. Most people don't know what it is. But usually when they say a route tree, if you like look up a route tree online, it's going to show like a stem that's going straight up, and it's going to give you a bunch of different, lines that's going off of it. And running a full route tree is very, very hard to do good, because guys have different weaknesses, different sides, different things, different, that. Now, how quarterbacks and receivers stay on the same page is the more that they understand the defense. And the quarterback is the one that's responsible for that in practice. The way that they're on the same page is eliminating the gray area in their mind. I remember going over to Donovan McNabb because I was a film watcher, and I would say, hey, listen, on third down, they're going to play cover 2 under man. majority of the time between 3rd and 4 to 3rd and 10. They're going to do that. That was Green Bay's thing when they had Charles Woodson. That was their thing, right? So on 3rd down, they would be in this under man. And I would say, hey, listen, in under man, I'm not going to be able to cross his face because he's inside. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 steps to the inside, and then I'm going to come right back down my stem or away from Charles Woodson. And I already had that plan made up in my mind before the game. Or I would say, hey, we're playing, we're playing the Cowboys under Wade Phillips, and or in Wade, they play this cover 4. So once I go vertical, once number 2 goes vertical in cover 2, the safety is going to pick me up man to man, right? At some point, once I clear the second level defender, the safety has me man to man with an inside leverage. I'm not going to be across his face because he's going to make sure that he keeps an inside leverage. But as soon as the curl flat defender, as soon as I pass him, I'm going to stop and we can hit each other right there. Like, we already made it up in our mind what we were going to do beforehand. And the quarterback is the one that's responsible for it. But if you have a receiver like the Edelmans or, Devontae Adams, those guys that you can tell, watch tape and know what they're doing, and therefore the quarterback is able to play ball with them, every receiver should go into the game knowing exactly what they're going to do on their route in every coverage. Every potential coverage that they're going to have that week, I used to literally go down my playbook and be like, okay, if I'm in this position, I get this coverage. This is where the hole is. If I'm in this position, I get this. This is where I did. And you don't have to go through and say, I'm going to get, cover, 3 in this position, because I know on 3rd down, they're not playing cover 3, unless they're in the red zone, like, but they're not playing cover 3 on 3rd down. It's just like, it's you might as well give us the first down. So they're not going to do that. So you can eliminate it on those different downs, but that's how you do it. They're running a full route tree and all those things that's going to get very, very technical. But look up what a route tree is online. There's a bunch of different branches that stem off, that main stump. And most guys cannot run a full route tree. They can on air, but getting open with it is very, very hard to do. Yeah. So that's the answer to that question.
That.
Yeah. So go ahead.
And then another thing too, I would add to it, to that question too, is if, I don't know if this is a coach that's asking this or what, but start to find out, like, there's certain routes that are designed or made for certain coverages. And, I personally, if it's a coach, I would say, listen, if you know that you're facing a team that's playing a lot of cover 4 or a lot of cover 2, whatever, find the best 3 route combinations that you can to beat those coverages, and then just work on the timing of those routes. And then, like you said, exactly like Jason said, like, it's got to be a situation where the quarterback and the receiver get on the same page, because no matter what coverage, and this is one of the things about defense, there's no perfect defense. There's no perfect defense at all. There's holes in every defense. There's holes in every coverage. You just have to, the thing about defense is you try to put enough pressure on the quarterback, or you put enough timing off to where they don't find those holes.
Exactly.
And so the teams that are successful, the teams that are very good, are the teams that they're able to withstand the timing issues, withstand the pressure issues, right? Mm-hmm. And the better way to do it is you like you said, you find the holes, you have a plan going into it, and you attack it, and you get them out of it. Because if I'm a defensive coordinator and I'm calling cover 4 and I keep getting 8 up on cover 4, I'm not going back to it on 3rd time. I'm going to try something else. So
yeah, you get them out of it.
And a lot of times what happens that ends up being man. Like, I don't know what to call it. Man.
Come on.
And then you got him. It's the wrap after that.
Hey, listen, when you getting tore up, that's like the coverage. It's like, all right, listen. Game plan not working. Y'all dumb and y'all can't get it right. You can play man. All right, that's it. Right? When you gave up, when you're a defensive coordinator and you gave up on your players, when you gave up on, man, just play man.
Just play man.
Y'all dumb as hell. Like you can't get it right. Play man.
Hey, that's real. Shoot. Oh man.
Same.
And I've been on not in the pros, but I've been on some defenses like that where we just couldn't stop, and then the coach he come into the huddle like this.
We working on this
Just
all
play,
week.
man.
Working on this all week. Fit right here. You fit right here. We can't get it right. We working on this all week. Listen, don't worry about it. Just shoot this. You got this gap. You got this gap. Every play.
Oh, it's too funny, man.
It is. But that like concludes like our most of our questions. I think we got through all of them, Q, at some point, some way. We got through all of the questions.
Yeah. We had a couple of similar questions.
Go ahead.
No. I was saying a couple of questions were similar, so we kind of grouped them. So hopefully we answered everyone's questions. If we didn't, go ahead and send us another email at insidethebirds at gmail, right? That's the email.
Quick. I got this one for you before we go forward, because we already over
Yeah,
time.
no, we're good.
Can you guys talk a little more about what it's like working with those volatile players? Is it all press or is it real? Like, players that, like a T.O. reputation or
Steve Smith.
Yeah, like when you got just players that just are a little bit, harder than most. Like, what is it like working with players like that?
For me personally, I don't think I had any teammates that were volatile in the sense of I never wanted to be their teammate. We had some strong personalities. I probably would say maybe the most different personality was Will Peterson. I think he changed his name to Will Joseph, right?
Yeah, Will James.
Will James, yeah. He was a little different. He was a good dude, though. He was a little different. But other than him, like, I didn't really have any crazy. And most of the quote unquote explosive guys that I've ever experienced have been on offense. Steve Smith.
Hey, hold on.
And T.O. So I mean, maybe they should ask you that question, because on defense, I mean, we just have some dogs over there.
You got some dogs. Y'all a little touch too. So I listen. So I'm at the position of the most ego, right? As a receiver, you have the most ego. One, you most of the time you're handsome, you run fast, you look good with your shirt off, right? So you know what I mean? So there's a little bit of swagger. You make a few dollars, right? People know who you are because of the media hype, because you're outspoken or what have you. So it's become a culture to kind of, let your personality show. For a receiver, there's a lot more bravado, a lot more ego. And so you have to be able to find out what motivates and what kind of is the player's inspiration. I say that the best way to handle any personality is to create a relationship, because the relationship that you have, and you're not doing it because you're trying to control, you're doing it as a good human being, to know more than just a jersey number, or no more than just, the dude that scored touchdowns, right? So you want to know and understand this person because you're going to be around them a long time. And usually what I found is that if you create a relationship with anyone, they're going to be they're going to accept your advice and accept you as a person a lot easier because you have a relationship with that person. The only times, and you will be able to diffuse a situation because you have a relationship with a person. Mm-hmm. And so those are the things that I can say. Now, it's tough though, because it's very, very hard from a coaching perspective, because there's always a player that if a line is right here, it's the person that wants to like be right next to the line, like, or like, It's that person. Oh, like that's the receiver every time, right? He always want to be right near the line, right? Always. So as a coach, it's a pain in the butt because you have to enforce rules because of that person. And he always puts you in that position because he gonna make you look like a punk before all other players. So for a coach's perspective, it's a pain in the butt. And also from a real leader's perspective, because you always get tossed in that situation. Oh yeah, I made a friendship with this player, but I can't allow his antics to divide the team. So it always puts you in a situation where you have to be in a leadership role. Because both of us were leaders on teams, right? And it can be tough and it can be uncomfortable at times because guys with a lot of big ego and like volatile players like Steve's and whoever it may be, like, cause Steve would punch you out of the blue. He'd just punch you or call you anything or whatever it may be. Back in those days, he's not the same person anymore. But back in those days, Steve was just a little bit out there.
He was he was still that same person when I was there.
Yeah, but so I give y'all a funny Steve Smith story, right? So I'm at a Christian conference, like a pro athlete Christian conference. Steve Smith is there. Me and a few of my guys, there's a bunch of people there, right? And remember, I said that this is a Christian conference, right? So I'm in a bathroom, and one of my teammates I played with in college, Steve Breaston, we invited him to come. And I'm in there, I'm talking with Ryan Money, who played for the Steelers, and I'm talking to a guy named Jamar Adams. I call him my brother. And I'm like, man, Steve didn't come. I'm like, dude, we invited him, we want to pay for his trip. And it's like, oh man, Steve trips sometimes. We talking about Steve Breaston. So we at the hand, washing our hands, I leave out of the bathroom. About 5 steps out of the bathroom, I get a tap on my shoulder. Do I know you or such and such? It's Steve Smith. Like I don't be talking about me behind my, such. I'm like, man, I love the person, but he was super aggressive. Like, like I was talking about him or something. I was like, man, I'm not talking about you. I was like, I have a teammate. His name is Steve Breaston. That's who we're talking about. He's like, oh. I was like, man, we at a Christian conference. You about to do me in at a Christian conference?
Hey, he would have. That dude crazy.
I was like, but ever since then, that's been my boy. Ever since then, ever since that moment, we laugh about it. Now I saw him at Disney World one time, and somebody smacked me in the back of the head, and I got mad. I was like, dude, who smacked me in the back of the head? And I turned around, and I'm like, man, Steve Smith. Like, you ain't gonna, because y'all gonna be tussling right there in the middle of the action ride with Minnie, like looking at you like, man, it's a damn shame what these dudes coming.
Gonna be on YouTube. Like, Steve Smith. Yeah, that dude crazy, man. He's a great dude though. Like, don't get it. Like, we're not bashing him. He's a great dude, but he will flip like that.
Hey, look, it ain't bad to have. You know what I found out though, Q? Guys like that get the ball.
Yeah.
And they play. The dudes that don't say anything, that's the great teammate, that's the choir boy, that like you get passed over. The dude that go in there and turn over the table in the coach's office and be like, man, F you, and you better give me the ball next week or we're gonna have some problem. I'll meet you at the airport in the locker room. You better do that on cuz I'm gonna do that, whatever it may be. That dude, the next week he gonna get about 15 targets. I'm telling you.
And he gonna catch them all too.
He gonna catch them all. I don't know what it is, but sometimes like the management, they don't respond to people doing the normal thing. The guys that create the ruckus, a lot of times they get rewarded for it. So guys just do it. So there it is.
Well, divas, receivers.
Hey, hold on now.
Do it.
Listen, somebody got to bring the swag to the party. Somebody got to be wavy out there. Look, we bring the energy. Like, what you talking about? They come to see us. They don't come to see safety. They come to see the receivers.
No doubt.
No, I'm messing with you.
No, you're right, 100%. Listen, I hope they're not coming to see me. I don't want them to see me.
Yeah, say they see me. Come to see the safety. It's hold on.
It's a wrap. But if y'all seeing me, I mean, I'm not having a good game.
No, you better hear that name, Quintin Mikell with another tackle. This is always fun, Q. This is been a very, very funny and rewarding show for me. I really appreciate you doing this show with me, and thank you for putting in the time. Thank you to Inside the Birds, Adam and Jeff and Hunter in the background and everyone else that's responsible. Make sure that you check out Inside the Birds. I think they air on Tuesdays. We air on Wednesday at 6 a.m. The Q&A show airs Wednesday, 6 a.m. Inside the Birds platform, YouTube channel, also Amazon Music, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Make sure that you guys are putting your questions out there, insidethebirds@gmail.com. And we want to say thank you to everyone that participated in the Q&A show this week. We're going to be ready next week with that fresh fire. Thank you to all the fans out there. And we're going to sign out tonight. Make sure that you come by Launch Trampoline Park located in Deptford, New Jersey. We got it all there, baby.
Yeah, let's go.
Can you want to say anything to the fan?
Yeah, man. Like, listen, it's been, as I say every week, it's been a great time. Love doing the show with you, Jay. Man, I always learn something, and the stories are amazing.
You had
so much fun, man.
You had the fire today with the under. I was in there like, man, I know the under stuff from Madden, but I didn't know it like this. Under front from Madden.
I probably should have had cards. Next time I'll have some cards already made, so it'll be a little easier to follow. But yeah, man, it was a good time, and as always, man, appreciate it.
All right, you guys.